Welcome back to Truck and Talk, where we bring you the people and decisions driving our companies forward. I'm Stephanie Valle, and today we're diving into a conversation that plays a role in every part of a business, from growth to relationships to long-term strategy. We're talking about marketing, and today I'm joined by Jackie Jones, the Chief Marketing Officer for Mesilla Valley Transportation. Jackie brings a unique perspective, combining marketing leadership with financial strategy, giving her direct insight into how decisions are made and how initiatives translate into real business impact. In this episode, we'll explore what marketing really looks like in the trucking industry and what goes into the work happening behind the scenes. So, Jackie, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So before we jump into our conversation, we're going to take a quick detour for our Fuel for Thought segment. So our first question, Jackie, MVT's marketing team is seen as the best in trucking, especially given its in-house capabilities. So how does this setup give MVT an edge over competitors who outsource these services?
I think it really gives us an edge by us being able to just take our own messages and make them relatable to our audience. Whenever you work with a marketing agency, a lot of times there can be some delays in trying to just take whatever message it is that we have and get them to emulate or recreate it in our own words, keeping in mind like our culture and just making it really sound like MVT. But since we're here, we work in the business, we are part of the business, it's just easier for us to make those messages, just more unique, more authentic and straight from the company.
So can you maybe give us an example of a standout result from keeping these capabilities in-house?
I think one of the result that I'm most proud of is just our authenticity and how our stories are real. Our stories about our employees, about our business success, everything it's just real. It's unique.
So many in the industry see marketing as just another expense. So what convinced MVT's leadership to invest significantly in it, especially when others have cut corners?
I think part of what led to us deciding to do much more in marketing, probably about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, our company reputation, like as far as online, social media, I don't want to say it was bad, but we're starting to see a decline in terms of like reviews, just drivers voicing that they were unhappy, employees making comments online, and we started to really look into like how we could combat that. Of course, that's not the way that we want our employees to feel about the place that they work. And so we really put a big focus just on our reputation. And so building around that, really trying to show the true culture of MVT and how we do care about our employees, that was one of the big things that kicked us into really pushing in our marketing department.
I think that's so great because I think that it could be really hard to reflect on one's own self. And so you all did the hard work of taking a hard look and trying to navigate that and do a 180, and you think you have, right?
Yes, I definitely think we do. And then with that, it's not that it's difficult, but a lot of times when people leave reviews or comments, sometimes they can be very mean and they can say things that are just not true, but there was still a reason that they did that in the first place. So we really have to like take a step back and look at, okay, why was this said? Did we communicate something? Could we make an improvement in that area? Why does this person feel like this? And trying to figure out a way to craft our messaging to just better address that. It's like real easy. People would be like, well, why don't you just say this? Or why don't you just blast them back with that? And it's like, well, no, that's not the kind or appropriate way to do things. We like to do things with respect towards everyone. Mm-hmm. And so that's something, respect is something that we're really big on. And so anything that we do, we try to show just that we're respectful to others, even if, their opinions do differ from ours.
Mm-hmm. How has your marketing approach impacted MVT's growth and its visibility?
I believe our strategy has affected our growth and visibility just kind of through what I mentioned earlier by telling stories that are true. Whenever we put something out there, we're able to back it up by fact and evidence. We're not just saying something because it's the popular thing to say or because it's what employees want to hear, customers want to hear. Everything that we put out there are things that we actually do.
So that was our Fuel for Thought segment, and now we're going to get into our interview and learn a little bit more about you, Jackie. So A lot of people don't grow up dreaming about marketing trucks, but how did your career path lead to becoming the CMO at MVT?
Several years ago, there was another lady who was in charge of marketing, and she had went on maternity leave. And I don't remember what had taken place, but I had a conversation with Royal and Dean, and we kind of addressed how there were some needs. And they pretty much just told me that's what I was going to do. And so I really had no experience or knowledge or any idea of what needed to be done. Luckily, we had another gentleman working in marketing, and he had a very keen idea of what we should do. We just started working together, and we actually reached out to a very large agency, and they provided us with so much knowledge and information and really had us thinking about just what we could do, what we could change, and how we could present ourselves better as a company.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you first started, did you have a moment where you realized that marketing trucking was more than just about the logistics, that it was something that you've mentioned a lot, which is storytelling?
Yes. So in marketing, in the marketing that we're doing, we're not even marketing trucks or trucking. We're marketing the success stories of our employees, of our drivers, of the business. A big part of it, is the success of the business, but that success wouldn't be possible if it wasn't. If we didn't have the success of our employees and our drivers, then we wouldn't be successful as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more just about like telling their stories and the things that they've been able to achieve, their own personal success, just telling those stories that makes things resonate with our viewers.
Wow. So what surprised you most about the trucking industry's approach to its own image when you joined it?
Something that really surprised me was just the overuse of like stock images. Whenever we really started looking at other companies and what they were doing, we would see the same drivers featured like in every ad or every post, just branded slightly different, with another company's logo. The messaging was all very similar. For me, one thing that I still notice today is the overuse of buzzwords. I don't like buzzwords. I'd rather us just be transparent and upfront about what we're doing. Just have like a straight, direct message. I don't like a lot of fluff, and I think that there is a lot of fluff especially with buzzwords out in the industry's marketing today.
So can you describe a recent campaign that exemplifies MVT's marketing strengths, particularly in terms of creativity and measurable outcomes?
This is a tough one because we have so many campaigns that do really well. One would be, we were just talking about it earlier before the podcast, was actually this podcast. We had wanted to do this for so long. I mean, years and years. We were really wanting to make it happen, just because of time, resources, other priorities. We just hadn't done it. And so then one day we just decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen. That's actually something that the team says quite often, is make it happen. We just figure out ways to make things happen. And we did. And so this podcast has been really, really neat to watch how it grows, and just, getting to see everybody's interviews, their unique opinions about the company, and just learning about like the areas that they specialize in. It's just, even for me who has been here at the company for a long time, like I learned something from every single podcast.
So watching the podcast, knowing that this was an idea and now seeing it come to fruition, is it exactly or more than you hoped it would be?
It's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. I didn't, it was something that we were really excited about. And I just thought like, oh, we're not going to be able to keep it going. We're going to run out of people to interview. The team has to come up with all of the interview questions. They have to do their research on what's going on in the industry and also the person that they're interviewing, and just make sure everything flows well. And if I'm honest, I was a little iffy about whether we would be able to pull it off consistently, but we have a great team, and they've definitely done a wonderful job with it.
And this was a great opportunity to tell the team that's behind the cameras right now that they are doing a great job.
Yes, they are. They are all, everybody on the marketing team, like everyone is so helpful kind, thoughtful. They all have their areas that they excel in. And everybody just works really, really well together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to them. So trucking relies heavily on metrics like fuel economy and on-time delivery. So how do you craft marketing stories around those numbers to resonate with your audience?
It can be a little bit difficult sometimes. Like, you really have to look at all of our, at least in marketing, we have to look at our messaging from all standpoints. So not just from like the business aspect or the customer's point of view, the employees or the drivers. We have to look at what the message is and then really craft it so that it is, we have to show the meaning to each group or each category, each part of our audience, and express how it benefits them, just not the business. So everything that we do is really tailored to making sure that everybody understands the effects for themselves and how it benefits, not just the company or not just drivers. It's really a benefit for everything or for everyone.
So MVT is older than both of us, just going to say, just kidding, but it's been around for 44 years. So how do you balance this legacy? I had to make a little joke. So let's enjoy that one. But it has been around for 44 years. So how do you balance this legacy with the modern shipper's expectations for digital sophistication?
We try to stay advanced in everything that we do. A lot of what we do through marketing, or I'll say everything that we do through marketing isn't necessarily, we're not looking to our shippers to see what the need is. We work very closely with our sales team. We stay on top of reviewing other companies and seeing what they're doing. And then of course, like with staying in close communication with our sales team, we make sure that we react and respond to what they're needing very, very quickly. Yeah.
Can you describe how MVT measures the ROI of its marketing events and the sponsorships, and what defines success in those areas?
In terms of looking at like the success for an event, it's not really measured in dollars. It's measured more in the effect that it has for our employees, for our drivers, and also just making sure that they're enjoying what's going on. We have several events throughout the year. Sometimes, there's a really great or a very big outcome in terms of like people participating, showing up. Sometimes they're a little bit smaller, but what's most important is the value that our employees get from those events. Yeah.
MVT's digital presence stands out in an industry known for outdated content. And I think you alluded to that when you mentioned that a lot of people use stock images. So how do you build, or how did you build this competitive advantage in the digital era?
The biggest help of growing in this area is making sure that we had our own in-house team. We don't have to rely on an outside source to provide us with images or videos or graphics, anything that we do. Whenever our team travels, they make great use of, they really take advantage of making sure that they hit every location that they possibly can. If we're traveling to a certain city, making sure that they're talking with as many employees as possible. And we're constantly working on getting, just videos, photos, interviews. We try to get as much as we can at one time anywhere that we are. It's a lot, but at the same time, it's always better to have more than it is to not have enough. And it's really nice because we're always able to go back, and if somebody called us up today and said, hey, I'm doing an interview or I'm publishing a piece on this, can you send me photos of that? It's very easy for the team to go back to their resources and just pull exactly what it is that's needed, instead of being like, oh, okay, well, let me get back to you in a couple days, or let me schedule a shoot to get this done. We just already have the assets there.
So you had mentioned that the storytelling of the success of the employees is really how the marketing works. Can you maybe share a story that resonated most with your audience?
There are so many good ones. I can't think of one that stands out specifically, but one that I really liked was actually a commercial that our team did for Driver Appreciation Week. And it basically just tells the story of like what a driver goes through on the road and what it's like for them whenever they come home to their family. that was just a really meaningful piece. Like it really touches your heart and makes you emotional whenever you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me emotional thinking about it because I can imagine how that would be for the family who gets to have that driver come home. And with all this high-level branding, how does it actually affect the drivers day to day? And maybe you have an example?
I think it makes a big difference for our drivers whenever they see that we're here, when we're sharing the success of other drivers. You know, it can help motivate them to also reach their own personal goals or really I don't want to say take their job more seriously, because I believe that all of our drivers do, but just it could inspire a little bit more in them to let them know, like, okay, like I can do this too. I think something that our team has done that's really unique is we've created a lot of channels for drivers to talk to us, not just us in marketing, but those in the company. We have a website called Help Us Improve, where drivers and employees can submit feedback. They can do it anonymously. We have our emails that are open to our drivers, and we really push that a lot on social media, just so then that way if they're going through something, if they're in an area, if they're not able to get a hold of what they need to, if they have an issue that comes up, we're able to escalate it to the correct team. I think just showing the drivers and our staff that we're open to communication, and we welcome that communication, and we're also here to address their needs or their concerns, and not just, shut them out or say that we're here to listen to them but not actually follow through with it. I think that makes a big difference.
I think this all ties into Royal Jones, who you mentioned earlier, and his vision of promoting a driver-first culture. Can you talk about that?
So Royal is very big on a driver-first culture, which I think all of us are. That doesn't mean that all of the other positions or employees are not important. Everybody is equally important, but at the end of the day, like whenever we really look at it, it's important for everybody to understand that if it wasn't for our drivers, none of us would be in the positions that we are. And that's not just for people that work at MVT, that's for people across America. Like none of us would have the things that we have if it wasn't for drivers. They really are the backbone of America, and they are what helps all of us do everything that we do every single day. So really just keeping them, first in mind with any messaging that we do. It's something that's important to Royal. It's important to all of us to make sure that we're doing that too. But at the end of the day, like it's truth. Like they are first in mind.
What aspects of MVT's marketing do you hope that others in the industry would be emulating?
None of it. I hope that none of them do what we do, because I'm very proud of what we do. And if they don't follow in our steps, that's okay with me. I mean, honestly, I think any of it, just showing more pride in their employees and their drivers, not so much of the brand's accomplishments, but just those of their people. Like I'm really a people first person.
Well, imitation is the highest form of flattery,
yes,
right? So
definitely.
if you see someone copying it, then you know that you're doing something right.
Exactly.
So what keeps you passionate about pushing the boundaries in trucking marketing?
I think just continuing to be honest in our stories, and also everything that we're doing, making sure that we definitely want to stay like ahead of our competitors, especially in the marketing space. And honestly, what inspires me personally for my work here at MVT is my staff. Like there'll be a lot of times where we have things that come up or campaigns that we need to put together, and I don't have all the answers. And most times I lean very heavily on them to come up with the solutions. And honestly, like in certain moments, I don't always think that everything is the best answer or the best fit for what we need to have done. But that's one of the best parts about having our own marketing team is we're able to try things. We're not afraid to try new things. More times than often, they actually work better than we thought they would. And if they don't work, then we're able to just change very quickly.
And if there was one thing that you wish more people understood about marketing, especially in the trucking sector, what would it be?
Something I would like is to just see more people understanding what drivers go through, what it's actually like to be out on the road, and then also just what employees at transportation companies go through also. It's a very, very demanding industry, very high stress. And I feel like a lot of times the trucking industry or the transportation industry in whole gets a really bad. I mean, we probably all do it all of the time and don't even realize it, but it's very easy to get frustrated with another driver on the road. In general, most people won't like this, but the average person is not a good driver. Most of the CDL drivers on the road are much better drivers than the rest of us, but it's really easy to see something that one of them does and then just label the entire industry to be that way whenever it's not. That's not even anywhere close to the truth.
So have customer expectations as they evolve, does that ever affect the MVT marketing strategy?
It definitely affects us in the sense that like we need to be able to show that we're capable of doing what it is that they're asking for. But at the same time, I kind of mentioned like with our sales team, like they're really the ones that we're working with. If there's a customer specific need, we work very closely with our sales team to put something together to craft something that is actually true and genuine to what MVT does. With, if there's, that kind of goes like back to me not liking or caring for buzzwords, just because we see competitors or somebody saying, this is what we're doing and they're using all the latest, greatest buzzwords. We're not going to jump right on that train and copy or do the exact same thing. Whatever we put together, whatever we showcase is actually true to MVT and our capabilities.
So has there been a marketing initiative that maybe was a big surprise, a big hit in terms of business outcomes at MVT?
So I want to say yes, but not so much in the sense that like it was a business, like a transactional outcome, like with sales or anything related to that. One of our initiatives or one of our ongoing series, I guess I'll call it, is something called MVT Changed My Life. Basically a show or an episode where we interview employees and they talk about what their life was like before coming to MVT. And they just share like the meaningful changes that have taken place in their life since being at MVT. And so those are always really, really great stories. But something that we have found a lot of success in is some of our greatest employees, our best employees, have told us that watching those videos is what makes them want to come and work for MVT, or that has been like the deciding factor that helped them decide like, yes, I'm going to uproot my family and move across the company so I can come and work for this company.
That's great. So how does marketing support MVT's other divisions like warehousing and border tire?
Well, like with warehousing and logistics, those are both under the MVT brand now. And so that has been a really nice transition, especially in marketing, because we're not having to tailor like 3 different messages for each branch or each division on their own. Everything is pretty much tied to the same common goal. So that has been really helpful. But for like our other companies that we work with, Border International, Border Tire, the golf courses, we basically support them in the same way that we do MVT, probably on a little bit smaller scale, but we basically do everything for those companies that we do for MVT. So basically all of their social media, working directly with their stakeholders to push certain promotions or campaigns, helping with their company events and their customer events. We do pretty much the same thing.
So if you could sum up MVT, since you're a marketing expert, in one phrase or one word or one sentence, what would you want people to think about?
And I feel silly a little bit for saying that because so many companies say or try to promote or market that their company is a family. MVT really is a family. Everybody truly does care for one another, and it's also like a family in the sense that we may not always agree on things, but at the end of the day, everyone has a common goal. And that is to make the business and also the people who work for us successful. Wonderful.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and for giving all of us a deeper understanding of how marketing fits into the broader strategy of a company, especially within the trucking industry.
Thank you.
And it's clear that behind every initiative, there's thought, coordination, and purpose that goes far beyond what is visible on the surface. I'm Stephanie Valle, and until next time, stay safe, stay sharp, and keep on trucking.